All right, G to the M's, everyone. Welcome to the Orientation Podcast. Yeah, this is a space for clear thinking, honest conversations, and perspectives. Yeah, we usually push people to be able to talk about things that they usually shy away from. And in each episode, it's structured intentionally because we have to begin with the context of the conversation, we move into deeper reflections, and then we confront a set of challenging questions before we open the floor to the audience. So, here in the Orientation Podcast, there's no rush, there's no need to perform. You just have to relax and listen and allow this conversation to unfold naturally. And yeah, I am your host for today, Boy Achibe. And with me is my co-host and sidekick, the Evo Genius, popularly known as Chukubudom, who will be driving most of today's conversation and guiding us through the early parts of the episode. So I'll be passing the mic to Chukubudom, but before I do that, let's talk about the topic of today. Tonight's conversation is titled Africa's Travel Culture, the Journey So Far. This is not a tourism conversation. This is not a lifestyle or flex conversation. This is a reflection of movements, why Africans have moved across time, who controls these movements, and what travel has become today. With that said, let me introduce the guest for tonight. We are also joined by our guest tonight, whose life and work embody the very subject of this conversation. Our guest tonight was born beneath the horizons of the West African sun. He has been shaped by movements long before travel became aesthetic or aspirational. He is a voyager, both out of necessity and out of profession. His journey has carried him through the coasts and beyond, not merely to arrive, but to observe, to learn, and to translate experience into craft. He is a Web3 enthusiast, a VFX artist, and a stunning videographer. Someone who understands travel not just as distance, but as perspective. Through roads taken and stories gathered, he has earned a name that reflects his path. People often call him Kweku, the traveler. And tonight, we are honored to hear from a man whose movement has been intentional, whose work has been visual, and whose story carries life experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our guest for tonight's conversation, Rasta, popularly known and addressed as Star for the game. I'll pass the mic to my co-host now, who is going to help me usher the guest in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, OT Port, for that very wonderful introduction. Welcome, Star. Welcome, Star. It's an honor to have you with us. You're welcome. Good evening, and thank you to everyone that's listening. Thank you for joining us today on OT Port, your only orientation podcast. To join our community, you can feel free to connect with us on the Space dashboard, and you get access to our community and be one of our founding listeners. Thank you as you adhere and do so. Star, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, everybody. To the OT podcast. Yeah, see you, bro. Shuku Budum, I see you, brother. Good evening, King of 4-3. David also, brother, man. What's good? Krivik, I see you. Shika Samuel, I see you, brother. Adex or Edex, how are you, might pronounce that? I see you. Zanate, Bere, Alex, and Ikuku. Big ups to everybody here. Thanks for joining. Yes, I guess we should pipe it up already. Yeah, back to you, co-host.
I love that energy. I love that energy. Thank you very much, Star, for bringing that energy. But let's calm down a little. As an African, when you hear the word travel in an African context, as an African man that you know, what's the first idea that comes to your mind?
For me, if I should define traveling, I see it as experiencing different culture, different region. Some people might say, yeah, It is moving through the means of transportation. Me, I define it as experiencing different region or different culture or different geographical area. So that is it.
Yeah, I love that. So you say that it's for you traveling is exploration. It's not just movement. It's it's curiosity. It's finding something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know it. When you move around and when you see different places, different experience, you would know that where you are sitting, maybe you are, how would I put it? Okay, for you to understand what I'm trying to say is, if you don't move, you won't learn. That is it.
Simply put by our speaker, if you don't move, you won't learn. You can't learn by doing the same things you're doing. Look at things from another person's perspective. I love the way we are already going with this conversation. So there's a question that has always been in my mind. Before the emergence of visas, passport, borders, immigration, custom, before all these people just came and started making life stressful for human beings, how do you think travel was before colonialism and the emergence of British rule and French rule as it regards to African countries?
All right. I love to put things like this, but nobody should get confused. Yes, that is how I was raised. Yeah. If you stay close to older people, or if you stay closer to your father, you would learn lots. You understand? So, according to what I was not there, I was told, yes, according to what I was told, it wasn't about cars. There was no car then. It was about your feet. It was about camels. It was about horses. That's how they moved then. So, and it was swift. According to them, it was swift. They had maybe little understanding because I wasn't there. I would tell you what I was told. And come to think of it, if you should maybe do your research, you would know that, let's say in the 70s in Africa, we don't have car, we don't have train, we don't have lots of means of transportation. The only thing we had was our foot, the horses, the camel. So if you should ask me my what I think, I will tell you that we moved with our foot and then camels and horses.
All right. So, in pre-colonial Africa, it was very easy to move around. People literally trekked from Malawi to Egypt. People easily trekked across West Africa. And you know that it was not for aesthetics, it was not lifestyle. There was always a reason behind every movement. It's either intermarrying with another community, with another country. It was either trade, it was either festivity, it was either wrestling competitions. There was always purpose attached to traveling in pre-colonial Africa. Um, do you think that movements in that era, the way they moved, the way they traveled, do you think it strengthened their identity as Africans and as a community more than the way African identity is being bastardized in current society?
Um, I won't really put it that way. Yes, them cars, them airplanes, yeah, they made it easier for us to travel. But if you think about it, you would also understand that trekking from Ghana, from Kumasi to Takrady, from Takrady to Accra, from Accra you cross, you come to Togo, from Togo you enter Burkina Faso, from there you bro, no, that is suffering. Yes, it represents the roots, but I don't think them, means of transportation that was brought into West Africa is I will not use bastardation or something like that. I would tell you a different story according to my dad. Yeah, I had little experience because I was following him up and down. When my dad was with they are called one people now, but then it was the slaves. They call themselves the slaves. They move around. Yeah, that you can do your research about. You can go to Google and type the slaves banned in South Africa. Yeah, they move to places. They move to places. They performed. They not travel because they want to travel. They are traveling because they have to do this because if you don't do this, you will go hungry. So they used the olden days means of transportation too before them cars start to come in. So I wouldn't say that it is really something bad. So that is it.
I wasn't really talking about the means of transportation. I was talking about the ease of transportation. Those days, there was no custom, there was no immigration, there was no embassy that you had to go and apply for visa. If you wanted to go to Burkina Faso from Ghana, you just pack a bag, head on the road, get a friend. It was always normal. If you read old books, you say it's not good, it's bad luck to travel alone. You get a friend and you go hit the road and you're on your way to Ghana easily. I was asking, does it promote the African identity of our free spirit, of our communal life, than the identity we have now of an individualistic mindset as Africans, where we prefer to do things on our own than as a community?
Oh, yeah. I get it now. I get it now. There's something we normally preach in the gathering of the Rastafarians. We say one people and one soul. And yeah, I'm telling you, it's not a joke. So I still prefer the old ways than this new system of documentation or whatever they call it. Yes, because then they had unity. They had even though they speak different languages, it was easier for them to move around. Them things that are happening now wasn't happening before. They were, mind you, they were only 2%, not how radical it is now. So if you should ask me, uh, I prefer the olden ways, how it was easier to move around than today's world.
So essentially, the pre-colonial era had a more bonding effect on Africans than what we have currently. And it says a lot about our generation and how we mirror the West so much. Thank you very much for setting that foundation. I'll hand over to OT Pods to move us forward in time so we can get into deeper territories of this conversation. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much, my co-host. Thank you very much, my guest speaker. I'm already excited so much because this conversation is already turning out to be a fire conversation. I'm already learning things and getting to understand how these things happened from the stories that your dad told you. And that's nice. That's very much nice. Yeah. But I'd like us to move on to a deeper territory because up to this point, we've talking about traveling in the pre-colonial way, how it enabled unity, how it was out of necessity and not really out of flashy lifestyles or out of showing off. It was out of in necessity. People needed to connect, people needed to buy and sell and all. So having established these things, um, I would like to point out something I noticed. While the colonial masters came, the African relationship with movement changed. It did not remain the same way. Because there was a moment when travel stopped being by choice. That's when everything changed, when travel stopped being by choice. So I will pass the mic back to my co-host for him to take us down this lane of how African travel and African movement changed when it stopped being by choice, when the colonial masters came and the sense of freedom and free will that we had as a people, they tried to take it away from us. Can we go down to experience what travel meant during this period? My co-host, you can have the mic now.
Thank you very much for laying that wonderful conversation down. This part of this conversation, I'm very sure is very sensitive for Star due to his Rastafarian beliefs. And anybody who was sympathetic to slave trade, apartheid, and everything that involves the West, this will be very sensitive for you all. We have to talk about it because if we don't speak about our traumas speak about us. And then that's how we end up in psychological centers. We don't want to do that. So yeah, during the slave trade, Africans were moved without their consent. Parents sold off their kids, community chiefs sold off their serfs. If I should put it in that way. Star, how do you think that era reshaped our psychological relationship with traveling as Africans? Did it change anything? Did it just traumatize us for a bit and then we moved on? How did that era shape African travel culture?
All right. You know, they say something in this great future, you can't forget your past. That is one. Yes, it did a lot, but in as much as we blame the West for doing a lot to black folks, we can also state the fact that we should not blame them entirely because yeah, we are part of the problems too because we sold ourselves. But that is by the way. Yes, bundling people and moving them out. When you think about it, there is a mentality you have that yeah, if you go to this place because you are this or because you are that, you'll be um, facing a lot of racism or something like that. So some people that are not really emancipated will feel like if you travel, you're going to end up the same thing because you are black. If you move to a white community, you'll be racially abused or something like that. So it changed a lot. It changed the mindset of a lot of people that yeah, they want to take adventure. They want to experience different cultures, but yes, they are still in that bondage that if I move, something might happen to me. Yes, it changed a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely did actually change a lot because I know a lot of black people who are so tied to home. Anything that makes them stay more than 1 week outside Nigeria, they feel like people are going to attack them. They are not safe because of the trauma that has been created by racial abuse, the trauma of slave trade, the fake equality we have in society. But it's fine, and we cannot do anything about it unless emancipate ourselves, and that's what OT Pods is for you to understand that this shit happens and shit continues. Yeah. So, Star, would you say that this was the first time travel was associated with fear and permanent loss of identity, permanent loss of culture, permanent loss of everything that makes an African an African? Would you say this was the first time traveling was associated with such fear and loss?
Um. Yes, yes, yes. Because if you go back to history, and maybe I need to deep more, but from what I know, I would say yes.
Yes, in the sense that Africa was the first race to be traumatized by traveling, or what?
You want me to dive deep? All right. I can't be definite. I can't be definite. But if you go to if you are type that read about um, mythological stuff, you would know that even the Mexicans, even the some people from the Arab world, Yeah, but let's use Mexicans. They were traumatized too, not only Africans. So I cannot be definite on the date. I wouldn't say Africans were the first or Mexicans, but Mexicans too, the first eight. So I can't be definite and say, yeah, Africans were the first or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just checking that out. Even red Indians were traumatized by the slave trade as well. So traveling has actually been a traumatizing experience for different races, and it has all been exerted by one particular side of the world. I will not mention their name because Uncle Sam may watch it. Anyways, moving forward to the colonial era, we went from frying pan to fire. We were still managing the fact that we were being shipped out of our coasts without our consent. They decided to now organize our coast for us. And in the event of organizing this coast, colonialism brought borders, things that didn't exist before. These borders are both financial, both physical, both political. They brought in passports. For you to travel, you must have a passport. I think it was what's his name? This American comedian that was saying animals don't need passports to travel. Why do human beings need passports to travel? So we moved from a situation where we were moved without our consent to a situation where our movement was restricted by permission-based systems. How did that shift in our travel culture affect our African identity?
Yeah. I would always make a quote before I answer any question. Yes, if the world were to be free, I would be everywhere, brother. I would be everywhere. You will see me in Nigeria today. Tomorrow I'll be in Ghana. I'll be in Burkina Faso. I'll move cross the seven seas. I move like a free bird because we are meant to be free. Yes, but a lot happens. I would say we are in bondage because yes, it is controlled by this system that if you don't have this, you can't really move. It changed a lot for us, like a really, really lot. It changed a lot because I can't go see my people now in Ghana. I can't go see my people in the South. I can't go see my people in Burkina because I need a permission to go. Yes, it's changed a lot for Africans because we were free before until they came and I wouldn't really blame them full time, but yeah, I would blame them half until they came and gave us a system that uh, put us in these shackles that we can't be free. We can't really be free 100%. Yes, so it affected the African travel culture for real, big time.
I can relate because for real, why do I? It's more painful from the financial aspect. Throughout this year, I was tweeting about it. Why do we have financial borders? Why do we create lines where they do not exist? God made rivers to create separation. Why do we now have to put people there and enforce stuff? We lived as one people, and at a point, even African nations themselves are now wary of other African nations. You see that some North Africans don't want to associate with West Africans or South Africans. It's becoming a thing because of this identity clash. We've lost our pace as a people. We don't even know what we are doing anymore because everything we are doing is inbuilt, is programmed on us. But I would like to know, Star, why do you think that Africans in today's world, this 2025, why do you think that up till now in 2025, Africans are still facing disproportionate restrictions in moving around Africa, one, and in moving around the world, two?
Right, right. I'll just go straight to the point. I'll go straight to the point. One is, you know, when somebody do something now, when somebody do something, you would generalize it on everybody just because you have not experienced other people, right? So And until the philosophy of man, which holds one race superior and another inferior, is finally discredited and abandoned, everything is still going to be war. I don't know if I'm communicating. Or did you ask another thing, or I'm asking another thing?
No, you're on track. You're on track. You're saying that stereotypes are not baseless. So if there's a stereotype on Africans for their behavior, for their conduct, that is not 100% wrong. Is that what you're saying, or did I get you wrong?
Exactly, exactly. If you if you go to South Africa, let's talk about we Africans now before we talk about them total white folks. If you go to the South Africa, one Nigerian guy will do something and they will blame it on every Nigerian on the street. They would say Nigerians are here to take away their ladies, they are scammers, they are thieves, they rob the bank. But at the end of the day, if you look at it, it is them South Africans are doing this thing. They are the ones sponsoring everything. But no, one Nigerian man is doing it. Now it is all Nigerians. Now they don't want Nigerians now to come in. My father, I would also,
I
I love
see
saying
that
this.
you're
Wait, hold on. My father experienced xenophobia, top notch. Xenophobia, top notch. Yes, they can't really do lots. They can't even perform. They can't do this because of one person from the band is from Nigeria. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot for us Africans to see one person as one person, not one person as one people. Sorry, as people. If you are not there, you can never see. Sometimes you see what you want to see, not what you need to see. Until you start seeing one person as one person, and sorry if I'm preaching, yes, I should be doing this because that's what I do at the end of the day. Until you start seeing one person as one person and people as people. Take one person out of people, judge the person, not the whole people. That is what we preach. So this is dealing with us. Go to Ghana, they will tell you, oh, Charlie, not here. They will call Nigerians a lot of names just because of maybe Bantu or something like that. They would, a lot of them, I will not say a lot of them don't want to associate with Nigerians just because of what they see on the internet or just because of what one person is doing. So the division, the racism, the xenophobia, a lot, there are too much. So until we start from ourselves and change that mentality, nothing is never gonna work. So back to the equation. Yes, in Africa, it costs a lot. You can't move from one place to other because of the stereotype that been pushed out there that this one and this one is not good. So if this stereotype is going viral, you yourself, even the host, you'll be like, yo, come to think about it. I can't really accept this man in my house. Exactly. So, yes, that's all for now.
Yeah, that's a very important point to note because but when what pisses me or what ticks me about this whole situation is that it's Africans doing it to Africans first before we even get this done to us outside, before we get racially abused outside Africa. We ourselves we are already racially abusing each other indirectly. I was watching a video from a African CEOs forum last week, and Dangote was complaining. Aliko Dangote, Africa's biggest investor, was complaining that for him to travel to 35 countries in Africa, he has to go to 35 different embassies with his Nigerian passport and submit his Nigerian passport to 35 different embassies before he can travel across 35 countries in Africa. Meanwhile, Patrick Puyani, the owner of Total, who is a Frenchman, can travel across Africa with his French passport. And I want to ask, what does that say about our society as Africans? Is it us doing ourselves or is it actually the West?
Yeah. If you ask people, if you ask like lots of people on the streets, they will tell you, they will start with, yeah, Nigeria, or they will mention Ghana, or they will mention any other African country, is kind of a local government being controlled by the British government. That's what they will say. But at the end of the day, I will still call it a lie because, yeah, we are the ones doing ourselves. That's the truth. They don't want to admit themselves. You are giving me a gun today. Yeah, I know you gave me the gun, and you'll be like, yeah, tomorrow you're going to shoot at the host. Yeah, shoot him, and you leave me with the gun. Tomorrow, if I shoot the host, I'm the one that shot him, bro. I wanted to shoot him at the initial place. I'm the one that shot him, brother. If I don't want to shoot him, I'll just keep the gun to myself. I'll just go throw it away because you're not there again. This is what is happening to us. Yeah, they want to control us, but we are still the one doing it to ourselves. So I won't blame it on the West. I would blame ourselves first before putting blame to other people. So yeah.
Yeah, that's actually massive. For reals, this is something that's actually been bothering me, because how do you cry to the world that you're being marginalized when you are marginalizing yourself? It's something that bothers me, should bother every person. You don't come and start crying to the world that this is how you're being treated when you don't even treat yourself properly. And it's something that begs for an answer. It begs for an answer. But it's all right. It's all right. I think we'll get down to that subsequently on this episode. But for now, since we've been able to get how the travel was before colonialism, and how it was during colonialism, let's get to how travel is now after colonialism. There's a modern reality that is facing us now, where people now travel as a means of escape and as a means to find hope. You get? I think this is a different section of traveling that has been introduced by, will I say, the poverty in the economy and the hardship in the country and in Africa in general. So I want to give the mic to my co-host for him to take us through this. Why do people now travel as a means of escape? I would like for us to know. So I would like my co-host to take us on this dimension, on this modern reality, as to why people now travel as a means of escape instead of as a means of necessity, and to trade and to actually look through the world. So I'll give the mic to my co-host now.
Thank you very much, OT Pods, for laying another foundation for another interesting conversation. In an era where Japa is trending and cannot stop trending because our economy keeps getting worse and worse. Although I believe in Tinubu's government of temporary pain for permanent gain, I support Japa system because if you cannot get it at home, get it outside. But the problem with the Japa system is that we use it as a form of escape instead of a form of help. We don't use it to help ourselves. We escape from our realities and feel like we've solved our problems. Meanwhile, we live within our problems. That's why we are racially abused when we still escape and go there. So in this modern era where many Africans are traveling, not to explore, not to meet new people, not for even work, but just make I comot this country first. And that's the typical Nigerian mindset, to act first and then worry about consequences later. So in your view, Star, is migration more of a personal choice or a failure of our systems as Africans?
Uh, so I would answer this question like this. I would say you, me, everybody is part of the problem. That's number one. Now let's go to the secondary. Yes, the system. Yeah, because I blame myself too. I don't I blame myself before I blame other people. That is one thing you'll be taught in the Rastafari movement. You blame yourself first before blaming others. Yeah. So I live with that. So let's go to the secondary now. We've talked about the primary. So the secondary is the system. Yeah. People want to escape the system, bro. Come to think about, let's talk about the police brutality. Let's talk about military men doing a lot to normal civilians. Let's talk about politicians buying talk just to beat up people that want to vote for their rights. So we blame ourselves. We also blame people up there. Do you know why we should blame ourselves? It is the poor masses that will still collect money just to beat another citizen. Why? So that's why we have to blame ourselves first before blaming the system. Because we made the system at the end of the day. It will not take us anything to, come together as one and be like, yeah, we have to change this. So, my bro, let me tell you the truth. People are living because they want to escape that reality that they are born to suffer. You understand? So that is basically it. They are escaping that they are escaping the reality that, yo, I'm born to suffer. I can't do this. I have to leave. I have to leave. Even though I'll be racially abused, I just have to escape. Even if it's to wash plates, let me wash the plates. Let me cut them flowers to survive. Than to live in a place that I can't wear. Um, I can't. What is it called? Baggages. I can't wear baggages and big t-shirt just because I'm a youth. Immediately I'm a thief. Immediately they say to me, I'm a thief. I'm a scammer. That is it. So I believe most of you guys here, if you were given the opportunity to still escape this, yeah, it is a recorded speech, but I would still call it a shithole because yes, we made it to be a shithole. You would escape too. You can't look nice and walk free because you're a young man. Okay, that is it for now.
We will not sit here and watch you defame our beautiful country. As much as Japa syndrome is prevailing, it's very important that you know where you're Japaing to, why you're Japaing, and what you're going to do when you Japa. Like I said, it's typical Nigerian mindset to first take actions before wondering what are the consequences of this action. P2B said something one time on Honest Bond podcast. He said, if a 10% can manipulate a 90%, it means that that 90% is worse than the 10%. That is, the community mirrors their leaders. Our leaders are a mirror of what we are as a people. So we've made these systems. Nobody made these systems for us. We created these systems. We made police the monsters they are today. We condoned it, we allowed it, and it kept on deteriorating and going, and it has gotten to a point where we can no longer control it. There's a long list of issues that we allowed, not that we aided it, we just allowed it, and it has become major issues in our systems and how we operate as a country and as a continent. So we should take responsibility, definitely. But the responsibility or the blame will not be pushed away from the West. But in all, people like me that believe in Alabotu, should we be seen as resilient people, or are we sacrificing our escape routes, or we know just zero jackpot? Me, I know zero jackpot, make I know like.
Yo, bro, you are a hero for real. You are a hero. That's all I'm going to tell you. For people like you and people that got that same mindset like you, I will call you guys a hero. Yes, because at the end of the day, you want to stand for what is right and just and how to make the motherland a better place or a greater place. But still, but okay, let me reserve my comment. Yeah, I've answered your question.
I would like you to reserve those comments and tell us, but still what? But still what? The truth is that as Africans, we've already made traveling a big man something. So if I'm going to leave Africa, I should not be going to somewhere I'm going to hustle, man. I'll leave Africa and go all the way to Australia and go and be working in an elderly homes and and busting my ass for hours. No, if I want to go abroad, I'll go and enjoy life. So that's the mindset I come with. So is this resilience? Is this sacrifice? I be I just the wine myself. Tell me that thing you don't want to tell me.
If you ask Boachibe this question, do you know what you will say? Now mindset. Bro is more of resilience, not yeah, more of resilience and sacrifice. Yeah, that is it.
Yo, that's massive. That's massive from you, Star. That's massive. Yeah, as I would say, it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. Everything is happening all at once, and it's in your mind. Because I think every Nigerian, let's not say it's lack of opportunity. I believe that most Nigerians, make I not say any Nigerian, most Nigerians can actually travel if they want to. It will just maybe maybe it will just maybe make them sell one or two things, gather family members, do a little bit of contribution. But if they really want to, they would. And then there's most of us who has even made money and still refuse to travel. Maybe most of them actually not travel because maybe their whole market or where they make money from is still in this country. But there are some who don't make money here. You get, they're making money online just the way we make money online through crypto, through forex, and the rest. So they can easily relocate and not have to suffer through all of these things that they are suffering in Nigeria. But then they still choose to stay. So at some point, I think for some people it's sacrifice. It for most people it's actually a means of sacrifice and resilience rather than it's a lack of opportunity. But that said, my co was saying something about transportation now becoming expensive, which is the sad reality now in Nigeria. You get, it's very expensive now to travel safely. Let me put it that way. Because if you still use motor take go Abuja for night, na just say you go know whether na you and bandits go sleep the night abi you go still come back. But then people who now travel through through air and other safe measures, it's very costly for an average Nigerian. So I don't know why this is, but then it brings me to another dimension of traveling in Nigeria now. So I'll give this mic back to my co-host for him to take us through it. Is traveling at this point now a means to limit some people from traveling well, or is it just that people don't make enough money to be able to travel well? Just why is traveling this expensive and for some people and unsafe for some people too, while others get to travel fine and travel well and enjoy all of the perks of good travels? So I'll give the mic back to my co-host now.
Yeah, of course. I said it just before you took the mic that they've made traveling a big man thing. So when it becomes like that, you just know that problem don't they? My cousin is currently stuck in Abuja because GIG is 75K now. And when I told my mom that GIG is 75K, she said, don't bandit, stop them. That's so funny because after paying 75K and bandits still stop us and kidnap me, what's the use? We are still on the road. And then there's Sunny Bright that is 35K. So you see that the classism in the country alone has made traveling unsafe and has made traveling lose the essence of traveling. So Star, I would like to know directly from you, who do you think gets to travel freely in Nigeria? Because obviously Dangote cannot travel freely in Africa. None of us can. So let's just come back to Nigeria. At least who can go to Owerri more? Who can go to Owerri easier in this society in Nigeria today?
Bro, this question is confusing as oh, okay, sorry. Please rephrase that question. He said who is what?
I say who truly gets to travel freely and enjoy traveling in Nigeria with the current economic and security situations?
I bet everybody knows the answer. The poor man will always cry. The poor man will always cry. The poor man will cry from now till whenever. So the poor man always get to cry. No, whether you like it or not. But yeah, back to the question. Yeah. If you check the price chart, you will see that from Abuja to Lagos, if you want to fly on a normal, not business, or it's 400K, brother. 400K. So an average Nigerian, where do you get that kind of money just to because you want to see your people there? You can't. You don't have it. So, but a rich man can pay it and yeah, be safe. So a poor man will always cry. Poor man will always do what? Cry. I will not say I'm poor, yeah, but as always, I'm broke. But yeah, I will get rich one day, yeah. So sometimes my work, they might, you know, maybe move from borders to border, bro. Oh, this is a recorded space, yeah. But yeah, I will still say it. I move sometimes without even no documentation. I just move freely like a free bird. Do my work instead of entering flight. I will still be on the border, cross, go and shoot and come back like nothing happened. Yeah, I'm taking those risks because of. In fact, I'm talking too much. Yes, for your question, yes, poor man will always cry.
Come and begin this is something come and begin na talk say had I known last comment of a fool. So at the end of the day, I'm right by asserting that traveling has become elitist. It's now a big man thing, and if you're not a big man, they have. If you're not spending money, go. So yeah, thank you very much, Star, for that insight on which people are actually enjoying traveling now, and the whole conclusion of that is go and make money. If you're not an elite, you're not fit to travel, and if you're not fit to travel, you're not African. Sorry to say. So yeah, we'll be rounding up that segment of our conversation and focusing on the systemic barriers of African travel culture. Africans are free-spirited people. Africans have a culture of community. Africans are the only people that rename names, apart from Mexicans and Southern Americans. Like we live together, we do things together, and all of a sudden we are just divided by some barriers created by systems we allowed. So, Boyachiro, would you say that the means people traveled with back then reflected class and elite status? So we are going back now from the pre-colonial era to the colonial era to currently where we've agreed that our traveling culture is elitist. Would you say that from the beginning of time, traveling has been elitist?
Thank you very much, the co-host, for that question. Thank you very much for that question. Well, basically, yeah, I like to paint this analogy. You get. Let's bring it down to about how we travel interstates in the country today. Some people travel with the bus, some travel with SUVs, some use bikes, but then everyone is using the same road. You get. It's just different levels of comfort, but the same rights to move. So that being said, if we're going to take it back to the pre-colonial time, I think there were people who traveled through donkeys, like Star mentioned earlier, through camels. There are people who still walked on foot. There are people who rode in caravans. But everybody had the right to move. And what we're emphasizing on now today is the right to move. There was no restrictions as to who could move. It was just about the comfort at which you could move. And I feel it was not in a way to represent a light system, but it was just a way to show hierarchy. Because the only people who had some level of comfort to move were kings and nobles and priests. It was not a way to show that these people were elites or these people make more money than these people. But no, it was a way that the culture created itself to be able to accommodate hierarchy so that there would be a balanced system. You get, unlike now, whereby people now who take the bus are seen as poor people and people who fly are seen as rich people. It's different now. Now there are people are being restricted to move through the cost of the movement, through lots and lots of things. This comfort now is now based on costs and not based on hierarchy or social status. So what I'm trying to say is that we have since lost the right to move, and that is what is the problem. We have increased the flight tickets, heightened everything so that people who don't have enough money cannot move in this level of comfort. But it was not the same way it was in the olden days. The people who had to move with these horses and donkeys were just people that were opportune to be born as kings and priests and all, and not because of they had more money than the others. We saw big tradesmen in those periods. We heard stories that as big as the tradesman is, he'll still move on foot most of the times. With the tradesman that does not make as much money as he does. But now people who are businessmen are often segregated by who flies business class and who flies economy. So you see that recently now it's more about elitism than it was in the past. In the past, it was just about hierarchy and not about elitism.
If you're not making money, go. You go defend public yourself. Personally, I think that there is a fine line between conscious choice and unintended outcomes. Now, Africa has been trying to favor the West. We feel like we owe them a lot. And I don't know where that feeling comes from, but with if you look at our infrastructure, our businesses, our government contracts, Europeans and the West have already collected all of these things and they are already the ones in charge. So, Otipos, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that this pattern keeps on happening, keeps on recycling? No matter how much we think we've gone past it, it still shows up. Is it a post-colonial effect, or is it a symptom of false independence? That's neo-colonialism, or is it just cultural clash and the place of misguided identity? Do Africans, do Nigerians not know themselves anymore? And have we lost the essence of Africanism? Or is it just false independence? Or is it the trauma of colonialism?
Well, this is a very insightful question. Well, I think it's all of the above. It's both false independence. It's both greater issues aside from forced independence, and it's also as a result of our colonialism. I think let me bring it down. Let me use an analogy that is nice. All right. Sorry for that break in transmission. So what I was trying to say is that if this is a question of an effect of colonialism or false independence and other factors, I would agree to that. I would personally agree that all of these are what is wrong with the travel system now. Let me explain this properly. I think this is what colonialism did to us. Colonialism brought a vehicle. You get, it brought a vehicle, and then when we got independence, what we didn't change this vehicle, we only changed the person driving the vehicle. So now in our head we've changed our ways, but then no, we didn't change our ways. We only brought in our own person to perform the same things that these colonial masters did for us. So you see now that the essence of false colonialism is very much evident. False independence is very much evident because we think that we have gained independence when in truth we have not. Let me paint this scenario too, so that people who actually watch football get to understand it. Yeah. In Nigeria now, since we are being colonized by the British, most Nigerians tend to support English football teams. You can take a head count about how many people who support the English football teams, people who watch football. You see that 96 or 95% of Nigerians support the English football teams as opposed to Spanish football teams. And then this is even more, will I say, it's more unconscious than it is conscious. It is a way that shows us that we have not yet broken from our colonial masters. We think we have broken from them, but we have not yet broken from them. Because you hear when people say, I'm supporting someone from a team from Spain. People say, team from Spain, those one no really sabi ball. Okay, now England we say they play ball and all those kind of talks. Now you just in your head you just feel you're just defending your clubs, but then this is we trying to defend our colonial masters and trying to embody whatever they have given to us. So now that's a very false way of being independent. When you say you are independent, you need to not just change the driver, but you need to change the vehicle. You need to change these systems, the laws. You cannot copy the British legal system and the way they were able to create laws and enforce laws, and then say for a fact that we are an independent people. You see now that these systems now that we have been put in place in our country now still tends to reflect the people who have colonized us. And in doing that, it's still going to make us want to favor these people more than we favor ourselves, because the system already favored them when they were already our colonial masters. And if we embody those systems back, that means it's still going to favor them, both consciously and unconsciously. Why I'm saying consciously now is that we have started to do this over and over again, that we should be able to already figure out that this is what we are doing that is be hurting our persons more than it is, and enriching the colonial masters, and we should be able to like find a way to like get a hold of it. I don't know whether my co-host, you I'm still in track at what I'm saying, but that is basically what I think about post-colonialism and forced independence being a trigger for how people travel today.
Yeah, definitely. Post-colonialism trauma can never be overemphasized. I think So Very on Honest Bunch podcast was also saying this thing. Nigeria has not gotten out of the trauma of the Civil War, and is the crux of plenty of the underlying issues of Nigeria. So when we don't address our traumas as a people, we will address it individually. And at that point, everybody is having their own separate realities, and it can never be the same. Like Star said, the poor man will always cry. So I would love to hand this over back to OT Ports to take us to the next segment before we round up. We're almost out of time. So OT Ports, take us into the next segment of this conversation.
Right. Yeah. So basically, we have gone through all of the things that have since hinged traveling, both pre-colonially, both the present day, and just how we've lived all through and traveled. So let's get into a part that we wanted to talk about, which is this cost of traveling and all. You get let's get to understand something deeper in this. Let's paint a picture. You get let's take a picture of, like, let's say you talked about Dangote and the Ampiani, how he has free access to trade and all. So I would like to ask you, Chukwudom, the whole access that is being given to these other Europeans and being denied us. Do you think, do you really think it's as a privilege to these people get these assets as privileges to them, based off maybe whatever they offer us, will I say the financial helps they offer us or so, or do we still do it for them because we trust them better than we trust our own individual people? Let's put for instance now, you see situations where if we need to still build bridges and roads, we have to employ Julius Berger over indigenous people who actually make, indigenous companies who actually make these roads and build bridges. We see situations where innocents started coupling vehicles in Nigeria, and people are still afraid to buy these vehicles that innocents couple. Do you think it's because of we still see the things that being made in Nigeria as inferior, or being made in Africa as inferior, as opposed to the things being made outside, and that's why we allow much more access to foreign goods and foreign entrepreneurs than we grant the same access to our own people? What do you think, Chukwubudu?
Oh, well, the truth is that um, everybody cannot win. Yeah, Europeans have free access because they were smarter. It's as simple as that. I don't know how in hell Patrick Buyani will be able to access any country. There are 54 countries in Africa. And a Frenchman can access any country just because he has a French passport. And a Nigerian man, an African man, cannot access any of those countries without accessing a visa. It speaks a lot about what we are as a people. Like I've been saying it from the beginning of this show. We have an identity crisis issue in Africa. We don't know what we are doing anymore. We don't know who we are anymore. Traveling is not just movement, it's a mirror of who has permission, who has keys to the gate. That's why China built a wall around their own town. Trump has been threatening to build a wall. Let's take AFCFTA for example. That's the African Center for Free Trade for All. They launched in 2018. They said that they want to enable free trade of goods, services, and eventually people. This is 2025. And the biggest investor in Africa is still complaining about getting visa. And he's not talking about abroad movement, he's talking about within Africa. So on the paper, AFCFTA promises open commerce and Africa will become one big large market. When they were trending 1 naira, I mean one currency for the whole of West Africa. So AFCFTA is like the ECOWAS of economic and business people, and they aim on enabling trade, free trade. So now goods and services. I don't know how services will go through, Sha, but goods can go through, but people cannot go through. So, but actually, I don't know how can people move freely. How can people not be able to go across borders, but goods can go? It doesn't make any sense to me. And this is a real charter and a real organization that 54 countries out of the 58 African countries have already signed to this charter. And obviously, it doesn't work. So, how can people who can move freely trade freely? Please, Boyachibe, help us demystify that.
Um, I think there's something I wanted you to clear me on that you actually missed. I was talking about why we do not believe in our own systems before you headed into this. But then I think I'll just take this quickly, then maybe you can clear me on that because I, for one, do not really understand why we do not believe in our own systems and we tend to trust the outsiders to carry these things down for us. Then, as for the whole trade charter, I also had a look on that. The thing is, you already pointed this out. There's stereotype in the society, in African society as a whole. People don't want certain people to come to them. You already said, like the North Africans. We even see situations where the North Africans claim they are not Africans. We see where the Moroccans say they are not from Africa. You get that they are best described as Asians rather than Africans because they have seen ways that some Africans behave, and they now try to generalize it that some of these West Africans are ras. They are associated with theft and violence and all of this. So they want to not associate with us. So you see now that as much as they really want what we are offering, which is our goods, they do not want the person who is offering it to come and sell, which is very bad. It's a very bad thing because how do you now want to make use of what I am offering without me coming to give it to you? It goes to show how far we have drifted apart as a people. It goes to show how far we have drifted apart as a people. And the cause of this, the minute cause of this, lies on these stereotypes. As our guest said earlier, he said, let us learn to treat a person and not as a people. Because when you start treating a person as a people, you now start counting this person's laws and their flaws as a way a people relate and as a way they behave, and that way it's going to only cause disunity than unity. So I think for that charter to work and to even come in place, we should be able to create systems that allow for free movement first before this trade can be able to occur. So I'll give the mic back to you, my co-host. I think I've answered your question, and I'd like you to briefly just point out why we still have inferiority complex on the things that are being built in Nigeria, as opposed to trusting vividly on the ones that are being imported?
My sincere apologies for that question going over my head. Definitely, competence is one valid factor. Julius Berger is better than, let's say, Ebony State Ministry of Works, and is going to deliver a better quality job in quality time. Now, the first aspect of this is the African child wanting to be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. We Africans, we tend to sit back, we tend to have an I don't care attitude to life as an African, when we should be the one that to take life seriously more. We are not competent. We already have a stereotype. And the truth is, I think it was Karl Marx or who or Socrates that said it, no stereotype is unfounded. For it to have become a stereotype, it was is real. So now you are already fighting against a narrative. If you don't do better, you're not supposed to do good. You're supposed to do better. If you don't do better, you're not going to get noticed. It's as simple as that. The people who are breaking ground, the people who are breaking into the global world, who are breaking into African scenes globally and intercontinentally, are not people who are just doing average things. They are competent, they are dedicated, they are consistent. So Africans need to reorient themselves first. There needs to be a reorientation. There needs to be a reprogramming of the mind. An African child feels that money should come to him because he is educated. It doesn't work like that. Education is not a guarantee for success. There are a lot of cliches and a lot of propaganda that was being pushed into society that makes African society not believe what is coming out from them. That is why you can call somebody today and ask the person for money, and the person will say, "Wait, call video, call me first. Let me see your face." Is how deep fraud, is how deep incompetence, is how deep irresponsibility has gone into our society. Nobody here can tell me full-heartedly that you can give a job to someone online without first considering what if this guy go whine me. And that says a lot about our society. So the patterns are clear and the shape who can move. When you go back to talking about the privileges these Europeans have in our country, the patterns are clear. They are competent. They do the work better. They do the work faster. Now it's our own fault that we've not learned how to do this better. We are not innovating enough. I mean, what do you mean coupling cars? What do you coupling cars really? People couple bikes every day. What do you mean coupling cars? You need to do something better to get noticed. You couple the cars, so what if you made a mistake? Exactly the point. That was why I was happy when Innocent started producing his own car. Ikenga, by the way, is a wonderful car. My cousin got it and I love that car. So Nigerians that are going to break ground, Nigerians that are going to break into financial fronts, Nigerians that are going to break out of these stereotypes, are Nigerians that are doing well, Nigerians that are competent, Nigerians that are doing extra. So it's not about stereotypes, basically. It's not about the Europeans. It's not about our systems. It's about us and remaining where we are, trying to be uncomfortable trying to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. So,
So,
Rasta, at this point, would love for you to
can I
reflect
ship
on
in
everything.
something?
Exactly, you're coming in now. At this point, we would love you to just reflect on everything that we've unpacked today, from the historical patterns to the modern restrictions of borders, visas, to the business and citizen inequities. And when I talk about this business part, it still marvels me up till now that Africa's biggest investor cannot travel. Who am I? I feel so relaxed and comfortable now. It's okay to be a poor man, you know. If the richest people can't even travel, who am I? What? So, Star, I would like you to give us your indigenous view on everything we've unpacked today, and just give us a 5 minutes closure on everything we've unpacked today and your indigenous point of view on that.
Well, I don't have indigenous point of view. Right. Before I can, I would love to, chip in something on what you said earlier. Yeah, about we preferring the white folks to take them jobs instead of giving it to black folks. Yes, it all leads back to that stereotype. And some people, I will not say everybody, some people we, they will give them this contrast to um or let's say they will award this role to the person. Yo, this is your job, you engineer, do it. And give us guarantee that this road is going to last about 6 months or something like that. The person will be like, yeah, no problems. He will collect the money, uh, use second-hand tools. He will even do one layer. There's something called one layer. He will do one layer for people, for himself too. One layer, uh, collect the gains. Even he won't even pay people that did the complete work. He will just collect everything and go. So at the end of the day, the person that's employed him will be like, no, I cannot do this again. I'd rather have a white man, Julius Berger or whatever, to do this and pay him food than to bring my own kind. At the end of the day, he will still exactly. You are getting my point exactly, right? So we should know how to do better. Let's do better. Talking about what we've been, saying and conversating, or how I might put it, since the beginning of the space. Yeah, we've talked about a lot how we evolve. Yes, from traveling from with what is it called, camel to cars. We talked about the cost of transportation. We talk about how um, what is it called? What is it called? What is it called again?
How borders and visas have restricted us.
Yes, I'm when I'm speaking, somebody will be calling me. Yeah, but yeah, I've ended the call. Yes, how visa restriction affected us. Yes, we talked about a lot. But yes, I'm gonna say this before I drop because I need to attend to this VC now. Yeah, it's very very important. Yes. So what I would say before I drop is whatever you wanna do, just do it. You're a free man. Travel if you want to travel. Yeah, Chukubu Drum, travel if you want to travel. You don't need that money at all. You will need it a little, but yes, travel, enter the road, travel, explore Africa, because Africa is your home. Yes, move from Ghana to Nigeria, from Nigeria to Cameroon, to Burundi, to anywhere. Just go. If you have the mind to enter road, enter brother, or maybe tell me at the end of the day I'll carry you along. Please, please don't be Ayaosh, don't be angry. I have to go and meet Quetico, these French guys. I have to meet them now. Sorry, yeah.
All right. It's actually sad to have you live this way, but then we had a lot of knowledge that you shared. We've looked through your personal reflections and the honesty in those stories that you've been able to send through to the audience and to everyone listening today, and people that will actually tune in through the streaming platforms from tomorrow through the week. We really really appreciate your input, Rasta. We appreciate your input. And just like you've said, traveling remains a personal choice. You travel if you want to travel. Although there's restrictions to it, they've heightened the price and everything. But then let's all always remember that traveling for us should be something born out of curiosity, out of exploration, out of necessity, you get. And we should be able to not to shake off that fear and be able to get the best out of life, because I believe there's a lot in the world that we need to see, and we can only see these things through traveling. So thank you very much for your honesty in those reflections, Star. Now would like to hear from the audience. If there's anyone at all who's here who has a thought or an experience or a perspective that they'd like to share on Africa's travel culture, please, you can be able to request the mic now, so that we can do that fast. And so please, there, just request the mic. We'll hear your contributions, but then please keep them thoughtful and concise so we can hear from as many people as possible. While we head for the closure, let's mute the mic and hope someone requests for the mic. Yeah.
All right. In the absence of any mic request, and I'm sure that today's episode was very thought provoking. So when I need go think about and come back. Is as we close, I want us to leave with one thought. Travel exposes what a society values, who it protects, who it forces to move, and who it allows to move freely. Africa does not just need more movement or more freedom, more free movement. We need direction. We need to know where we are headed. We need to go back to who we are. We are Africans and we are always together. Don't forget, this episode is available across all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, wherever you enjoy your podcast, wherever you enjoy your music, we gather there. Thank you for staying with us through this conversation. It's been wonderful. This is episode 2, and we are going on. We'll keep showing up slowly, intentionally, and honestly. Peace out.